Hi and welcome to another episode of Riemann Studio Tricks. Today I'm gonna show you the Behringer RD-9 Rhythm Designer in combination with the TD-3MO and how to perform them live, or how I perform them live. So what I would do is I would program loads of patterns and I would care about the sound design, because how everything sounds is so essential to a live performance, of course, and you can do a lot of subtle little adjustments and tricks to achieve that. The first thing is I combined the TD-3MO with two effects to have it a bit more in a reverb-ish, delay-ish environment, because otherwise it simply sounds too dry and too boring, I think. So I added some reverb with the Possession from Old Blood Noise and Divas, and some delay with the Starlight from Universal Audio. And if I have only a limited amount of inputs in a live session for whatever reason, I would go from the TD-3MO output to the RD-9 return channel, which is mono, and which is normally for if you want to have an effect on one channel and return it to the device. But in this case I'm going with the mono out from the RD-9 to an old Mackie mixer where I distort the input. That's where the kick drum distortion comes from. And the TD-3MO goes also to the same mixer, but in stereo. So a mono channel goes to the reverb, another mono cable to the Starlight, and the Starlight makes it a bit stereo. I will process that later in Cubase, because my plan today is to record or perform a whole track, which you can then download for free on the Flash Recordings Bandcamp page. So the link will be down in the description. Okay, let's check out the RD-9 first and what I did in terms of sound design. The first thing is I gave the kick drum full level and all the other elements only maximum half level. This way I'm able to distort the kick drum better, and the effects section is important too. I used the wave designer on the most heavy settings on, as you can see, every element. This makes it less dynamic, of course, but it gives it that compressed, loud vibe, which I like in this case. And I kind of compensated that, the loss of dynamics, with the high volume of the kick drum and the accent. The accent is very important. You can give a certain rhythmic to a beat, but in this case I used it a bit more to distort, or to give the 1 and the 3 and the 5 and so on a bit more volume. So if you go to the accent, which is this, then you can see this one is lighting a bit, and the accent is here as well. You cannot see it because it's red at the moment, but the accent is on every other step, which gives it a stable rhythm. But let's remove it and you will hear it. So I remove the accent. Let me compensate that with a bit more volume. So that's kind of static and a bit boring versus this style. That's subtle little things, but very important to achieve exactly that sound. And I used the Hipass filter and not the low pass filter, because a high pass filter is really useful in a live performance. You know, also in a DJ set, or in general, almost everybody uses a Hipass filter a lot for the breaks, and then to add effects or something, and to bring in the kick again. And instead of a low pass filter, I tend to use the solo function and solo the kick drum, plus maybe the toms. I use the solo function much more compared to the mute function, because yeah, when I'm okay, you can mute the kick drum, but then the compressor pumps up the signal, the compressor which is after the RD-9, you know, which is a nice effect, nothing against that effect, but I think with the Hipass filter it's a bit more controlled and just a bit nicer. You can use a combination, of course, like put out bass drum, go up with the Hipass filter, and then you bring it in. And then the low pass filter. I mean the Hipass filter. But as I said, I tend to use the solo because then I can go from a climax. Let's quickly make a climax. Let's bring in the 3. Yeah, as I showed in the intro, let's say there's a climax, and then I would press kick drum on solo and perform the TD-3 or whatever synth you use at that moment. And then I would build it up with the synth again and bring in all the elements step by step. The hi-hat, maybe another Hipass filter. Until you have everything in again. And don't forget to press on all solo buttons to remove it, because then otherwise the mute function would not work anymore. Okay, let's check out the TD-3MO a little bit. If you want to see a video about only the TD-3MO, which is the modded out version of the TD-3, check out this video. Okay, the cutoff is quite clear, and a really cool function is the difference of the length or the decay time of normal notes and notes with accent. Some notes have an accent, and as you can see with this LED, it's much longer. If we make everything short, let's actually solo the kick drum. If we make everything short, then the sequence is a bit static. And if the accented notes get longer, you get another layer of rhythm, sort of. I mean, you can punch in accents with this knob as well. It's a really nice function. So I work a lot with this combination of long and short notes. You see, you can change the rhythmic feel a lot with only those two buttons. I mean, knobs. And really cool is the accent sweep. So you just change that on the fly and turn the cutoff a bit. And very important, the filter FM, which gives a much wilder sound. Let's listen to it without the filter FM. FM means frequency modulation, by the way. So the filter gets moved with a certain frequency really fast. And yeah, listen to the difference. It makes it much more rough. And I would recommend use the resonance so that it doesn't really sound tweeting too much. Like this is a bit too much, I think. Well, in this setting only. Let's say you're in this setting. I think that's too much, you know, it starts tweeting too much, because that can be annoying in the track. I mean, you can do that real quick, but make sure it's not always too much. Well, it depends on the genre, of course, but with this track, I would keep it like slightly below that tweeting sound. And if you want to have a tweet, do it with that. So I would not touch that while I perform the track, in this case. Sweep speed. I would not use the soft attack in this case because it's okay if the attack is slow, I mean fast, and the sequence is punchy. And a really cool trick is, or let's say feature, is the sub oscillator. There's a little bit of sub oscillator inside, so if I switch the oscillators off, you can only hear this and the resonance of the filter, which gives a whole another sound. That would be the square wave, by the way. And that's a cool trick for a break. Let's say you are, climaxing. Let's say you come towards the climax, and if you do the kick drum solo trick, switch the oscillator to off, and then you get a whole different sound, a kind of A-B thing. You see, it's a totally different vibe now. Do this trick. So don't just touch every knob a bit. Better focus on some things you want to do and then stick to them, you know? Like when I perform this track, there are certain knobs which I won't touch because they would change the sound design too much. But certain things can be changed because you can always return to the same thing. So I would only touch the length of the normal and accented notes. I would not touch the filter FM because it's I want to have a a constant sound. Don't want that the initial sound of the 3/3 changes. I would touch this because you can always return to 0, you know. I would of course play a lot with the cutoff frequency. You can change the envelope, but yeah, remember where it was. That makes it a lot more rhythmic. I would not change the level of the sub oscillator. I would only switch it on and off, as I said. And sometimes in a performance I change the key of a sequence. I'll not do it this time, but that's how it works. You are in play mode you press pitch mode, and you transpose it up from C to F if you want. But in this case I will not do that. Okay, I would say let's record track, let's record a whole performance, and as I said before, you can download the result, the full track, for free on the Flash Recordings Bandcamp. The link will be here in the description. Okay, let's go. Let's prepare an intro.